What's up YouTube, I'm Mike, and today I'm gonna make a quick video that was kind of inspired by a guy I met in the gym the other day. I was doing chest and this young guy walked up to me. He was like, damn bro, you look fucking huge. Like, you know, all the usual questions, you know, what's the secret? What are you taking? And we started talking about steroids a little bit, and then he asked, so man, like when do you think is the right time to start doing gear? Which of course is a fucking loaded question for any number of reasons, and I started to try to formulate an answer, and then before I did, I thought, I don't know how old this fucking kid is. So I asked, and he said 15, which was shocking to say the least. I certainly thought he was older than that. And so of course I immediately steered him away from the entire conversation, but that's not really what this video is about. It got me to thinking about just how far this drug use, hormone use has come for me over the past 3 to 4 years now. So I decided to make a video going into everything that I am currently taking to either maintain my physique, build my physique, or to stave off some type of side effects that I'm experiencing from the various different drugs and compounds and hormones and peptides and shit that I've been using. So I'm gonna run down the list real quick just to give you the volume of shit we're talking about, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit as we go along. I probably look fucking weird colored. I put a self-tanner on earlier, and that's why I haven't washed it off yet. Nevertheless, this is the list that I am currently putting into my body on either a daily or weekly basis at a minimum, generally. There's one of these that's kind of variable, but here's the list. Test E, Tren E, Anavar, Cialis, Ambien, Telmisartan, human growth hormone, HCG, BPC 157, Arimidex, Cabergoline, fish oil, multivitamin. You could probably add fucking protein powder, carb powder, and a shit ton of caffeine. So that is the entire list of things that I am currently using. And when my actual blast starts in earnest, we're gonna be adding, I think, 3 more items to that list. So obviously that's a ton of shit. At least it feels like a ton of shit to me. One of the things that I kind of told myself and sold myself on when this whole adventure started was that bodybuilding and steroids were going to be a better, better than street drugs. I had been, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know that I was, before I started bodybuilding, I was abusing my ADHD meds. I was eating a shit ton of Adderall on a daily basis, and then I got my doctor to give me Dexedrine. But again, that's a whole different video. So I got off all the psych meds and the fucking ADHD meds, and I thought, this will be a healthier alternative. And then 3 years later, and I'm doing like 15 different drugs. So I just wanted to kind of drive home the point that it is, when you start getting into bodybuilding, it is a very, very slippery slope, and it can get out of control really quickly. We're gonna run back down the list again before I talk about any more of that. So when it comes to the Test E, those dosages range from as low as 200 milligrams per week when I'm cruising. I've gone as high as 800 milligrams a week during a blast. Tren E, I've run as low as 50 milligrams and as high as 550 milligrams a week. Anavar, I've never gone only over 30 milligrams. I don't really think you need to, but that's my opinion. Cialis, I take it a very fucking low dose. I had to start at 2 milligrams a day. And even at that dosage, I would get massive burning stomach and crushing headaches. And it was just because I couldn't take the ED problems that I was having off cycle. And so I just kept using it and ignoring the headaches and the side effects. And then after about a week, things got better. And after about a month, they got even better. And so I take like 3 milligrams a day now, which is more than enough. Like more than enough to keep me at the ready at any given moment. Ambien I've been taking for over a decade. I've had a couple of people come in the comment section like, oh bro, Ambien's fucking terrible, you shouldn't take Ambien. I have no idea why someone would say that. I've had 0 problems with Ambien. It's not a it's not a sleeping pill. It's called a hypnotic. So the biggest problem I have ever had with Ambien in over a decade is that on occasion, once the pill kicks in, I will stay awake, like I'll be conscious and I'll be talking to my wife or having sex with my wife, and the next morning I will have zero memory of anything that I said or did. So obviously that's embarrassing and it leads to some funny conversations. She's actually recorded me saying and doing things at night because she can generally tell when I'm fucked up and I'm not gonna remember. And I'll say outrageous shit. Like, luckily she figured it out. I used to call her weird names. At night, I used to call her my little slut or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it would be like strangely sexually degrading shit that I would say when I would, what?
Prostitute. You used to call me your toot.
I used to call her my toot, my little prostitute. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I've never thought of my wife in that context at all, even close to it, but it makes me kind of a nut. So, but that's, you know, I mean, that's in the confines of your own home. Like, fuck, you know, it doesn't cause a problem in our relationship. I know I've read reports about people who can get in the car and drive on it, and obviously that's fucking idiotic, but in over a decade, I've had no obvious deleterious effects from Ambien. I honestly don't know why everybody in the country's not on it, but that's just me. Telmisartan, I take 120 milligrams per day. I started at 60 and climbed to 120, and that is what is necessary to keep my blood pressure in line. And even at 120 milligrams, sometimes my blood pressure will go over, it'll be like 132. That's what it was walking around Walmart the other day. I checked it with that machine there. And so even at 120 milligrams, sometimes I struggle with my blood pressure. Human growth hormone, this is brand new for me. I've only been doing this for about 15 days. I am fucking loving it so far. I'm up to 4 IUs a day. I'm gonna make an entire video talking about all of the effects that I'm experiencing so far with that. HCG is another staple. I have been on HCG consistently. I can't remember if it's 500 IUs twice a week or 250, or is it UIs? Fuck, I don't know. Whatever the standard, like, fucking TRT protocol dosage is, that's what I'm on. That was prescribed to me when I started TRT, and I went off of it for a little while when they switched out HCG for gonadorelin, just trash, and so I found a source and got back on HCG. BPC 157. This is one of the drugs on the list that's not really fair to say gets used monthly. Probably gets used maybe 2 cycles a year. I primarily use it for elbow and shoulder pain. Usually when I blast and my chest strength starts going up, my elbows are just shitty. They've always been shitty and they just can't keep up. And I'll start getting nagging elbow pains like a tennis elbow. And the BPC 157 seems to work miracles for that. Also, I'm prone to shoulder impingement, which obviously BPC is not gonna do anything for an impingement, but I just get some irritation and some soreness and tenderness in the shoulder, and it seems to help with that. Arimidex, obviously, this is another staple for me. I have been on a minimum of 1.5 milligrams of Arimidex per week for the last 3 consecutive years. I cannot go below 1.5 milligrams. I did successfully get down to 1 milligram one time, but that's when I was using, I think, Masteron and something else that seemed to be acting as a bit of an anti-estrogen. Even on 200 milligrams a week, if I take anything less than 1.5 milligrams of Arimidex, my fucking E2 goes to the roof. My body will make estrogen just from like fucking looking at a test bottle. It's insane. Like, my body aromatizes at a ridiculous rate. So Arimidex is always in the mix. Cabergoline, I love, actually. I know they say that it can lead to left ventricular hypertrophy. I only take a 1/4 milligram a week. I've been on a 1/4 milligram a week for some time now. I've been on Tren for a very long time. I started my last Tren blast in October of 2021, and then I never came off. I stopped blasting, and then I did a cruise with Tren at 50 milligrams a week, and then that dose is coming back up for this current blast, and I fully expect that I will probably go back to 50 milligrams a week when I come off this cycle. Unless something massive changes, and this may sound insane, I will probably run Trenbolone for the rest of my life. Like, I can't imagine not running it. At 50 milligrams a week, I had -0 effects to my biomarkers and maintained a massive amount of strength and got a lot of the goods with none of the bads. So we'll just see. Maybe the rest of my life is a strong word, but for a while. And as long as I'm running Tren, I run Caber. And then fish oil and multivitamin is self-explanatory. So the other thing that I didn't put on this list is Delta 8. We started using Delta 8 for its sexual effects, but primarily we started using it because I could not fucking sleep on my last Tren blast. When my Trenbolone dosage gets over fucking 200 or 300 milligrams, I cannot sleep. It's horrible. My Ambien is not enough at 10 milligrams to put me to sleep. And I was having to take 20 milligrams of Ambien every night to get to sleep. And my doctor only gives me 10. So I ran completely out of Ambien and I had to fucking figure out something else. Delta 8 helps with the sleep problem. So I use Delta 8, I take one Delta 8 gummy every night. And then my wife and I watch porn while it kicks in, and then we watch porn some more after it's kicked in to do a little playtime with her. Then we get to sex, and then we get to bed. And that's our nightly routine, which I suspect is going to go on for the foreseeable future. So there you have it. Very, very long list of drugs, and this is what I mean to say in that, you know, if you're watching these videos, if you're a young guy like the guy that I talked to in the gym the other day, or you're fucking whatever age and you've never done anabolics before, I don't know like what everybody's reasoning is. Some people I've heard, they're like, well, why can't I just do a couple of cycles to hurry up and get to my genetic potential? Okay, fair enough. You could do that. You could definitely do that. You don't want to wait 10 years, 7 years, whatever the fuck it's going to take you to get to your genetic potential. You're not looking to be a bodybuilder. You just kind of want to be jacked. And so you think, hey, I'll do a couple of cycles. I'll get there and then I'll quit. Sounds good, right? And there's definitely nothing wrong with that as long as you understand two factors. One, if you ever cycle a hormone, you can never claim to be natty again. I don't give a shit what Mike O'Hearn tells you. And two, you're not going to do it. That's the problem. Like, it sounds fucking great, you know? It's like, hey, man, if I could just do like a couple of lines of blow at the club, it would be fun. Except you're not going to do a couple of lines of blow at the club. You're going to do a couple of lines, and the next thing you know, you're going to be buying a fucking 8-ball or whatever, and now you got a fucking problem. And so if you think you're going to do a couple of cycles, whether that's to get to your genetic potential, whether it's to do one competition, to get 6-pack abs, to go to the fucking beach, whatever your bullshit excuse is, statistically the odds are that you're not going to do one cycle, you're going to do multiple cycles. And so when you start cycling, then you're going to start getting side effects, and next thing you know, you've got a list fucking 16 drugs long of all the shit that you're doing to try to alleviate these problems. And that's how I got to where I got. So I started out with TRT, everything was fine. You know, we've got Test, Arimidex, HCG. So already out the gate, there's 3 drugs. And then you start blasting and cruising, and then you have blood pressure problem. So rather than just say, okay, I can't take X amount of gear because it fucks up my blood pressure, if you're anything like me, you go, well, what can I do to fix my blood pressure? What drug could I add to the mix to fix my blood pressure? And then you blast and cruise some more, and you get so fucking strong on Tren and Anavar that you're destroying your joints. And rather than saying, hey, you know what? My fucking elbows feel like they're going to explode under every fucking set. Maybe I should dial it back, get off the shit, take some fucking time off, let my connective tissues heal and recover, then we can go back at it. But instead you go, here, let me add some BPC 157, or let me add some HGH to try to, you know, heal my connective tissues. Now you've got another drug, you know, and the list just keeps going on and on. One of the things that also happens when you start down this pathway, you know, I get guys coming to me all the time in the DMs, or, you know, and they're like, hey man, can you help me find a TRT clinic? Or hey man, can you help me find a source? I just want to do a cycle. When you start out, you don't know shit. You don't have access to shit. You know, it's like maybe a buddy has some Test or some DECA on him, and that's what you can get access to, and that's cool, and that's where it starts. if once you start really getting into the world of bodybuilding, you start making connections and you start meeting people and you start becoming more adept at finding sources online, you will realize that it is relatively easy to find a source that has this gigantic fucking amount of drugs, like more than you can believe, like a drug for everything. You can get access to so much shit so easily and so quickly. It is mind-blowing. And so if you're coming from a place like me, where here you are, a recovered drug addict, and you're trying to do this in this controlled environment, and you're trying to stay responsible, and then next thing you know, somebody basically just opens the doors to an entire pharmacy of shit you can take, it's like, holy fuck, you know? And if you got a couple of bucks to your name, like I do, the shit can get out of control really fucking quickly. And that's what this channel's really been all about. It's just me talking about all these experiences that I've had. That's why I had the T-ball, you know, that I made some videos the other day. It was like, I've never done it. There's T-ball. I'll take some of that and give me some of these and two of these and one of these, like a fucking buffet. You know, you show up to the buffet, you paid your price for admission, and so you're like, fuck it, I'll try some weird shit that I've never eaten. What's the downside? The same thing can happen when you get access to some of these online pharmacies, and then it's like, fuck it, you know? Let's just see how far down the rabbit hole goes, and you keep adding compounds. Next thing you know, you're in a situation where I'm in, where it takes 10 drugs just to keep you fucking on the level. You know, if I start taking drugs off this list, then all of a sudden, there goes my blood pressure, or there goes my strength gains, or there goes my size, or there goes my fucking my connective tissues. Like, all of a sudden, there's like a level of dependency that you create, and it's a fucking lot, guys. So if you're a 15-year-old kid out there, if you've never gone down this pathway, please pay attention to what the fuck I'm telling you. You know, this guy's like, you know, he's 15 years old. So let's say he was 18. You know, that's the other thing where, you know, a guy comes up to me and he goes, hey man, I'm 18, I'm 19, I'm 20, and I really give a shit about bodybuilding. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I did a couple like little amateur natty shows, and I had fun competing, but I wanted to be natural, and I started losing to guys that were telling me they were on gear, and now I feel like maybe is the time to start. Okay, that's pretty good. Like, that's probably the best story you're gonna hear. This guy's already showed that he has the wherewithal to train, to diet, to be able to condition himself to get on stage, to try to be competitive. Like, he's got all of the tools at his disposal. So cool, maybe it's time to start blasting anabolics. The problem is that statistically speaking, like, there's a 70% or greater chance that 5 years down the road, this guy's gonna be married with 3 kids and he's not even gonna be going to the gym. You know, he's gonna go do a couple of shows, he's gonna get fucking super jacked, he's gonna meet a girl, she's gonna be like, oh my God, look at your shoulders, bang. She's pregnant, and next thing you know, this guy's just trying to make ends meet so he can support his fucking children. Same thing for the ladies. You know, you got these ladies that are 20 years old, they decide they want to do a fucking bikini contest. Next thing you know, she's on fucking Clen and Anavar and Primo. She does pretty good at the local level. You know, maybe she gets up to an NPC show, finds out she can't hold her own against all these girls that are doing drugs, quits, and goes off to have babies, but now her voice sounds like a man and her dick, you know, she's growing a dick. Like, these are problems that are going to stay with you for the rest of your life, and the statistical likelihood that you're going to be a pro bodybuilder is about nil. Like, it's a very small percentage of people who buy steroids that ever even set foot on a stage. Greg Doucette said it a million times, like, the overwhelming number of people who do, most people who do gear, you wouldn't even know that they go to the gym. They don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. So you got to factor all of these things in when you're deciding to put that first needle in your ass. You need to be aware that you could have a list this long of fucking drugs in 3 years. And the toll on your body, the toll on your psyche, the toll on all of your relationships, your jobs, all of these things are going to be negatively affected. There's 3 people that I can name right off the top of my head right now at the gym that I go to who are either A, losing jobs or on the verge of losing a job because of fucking bodybuilding, because their diet, their training, the anabolics, all the shit that they're doing is making them snippy or snappy, or they're fucking melting down, or they're quitting, or like, it can take control of your life just like a heroin addiction, a coke addiction, or anything else. So anybody who tells you that this is a safer thing to do than street drugs is really kind of lying to you. Like, yeah, technically 1-to-1, you can fuck yourself up a lot more with coke or heroin than test. But it doesn't just stay at test for next to anyone who ever goes down this pathway. So these are all questions you need to be asking yourself. You need to take a good long look at the mirror before you decide to go here, because for some of us, it's a one-way fucking trip. I'm making decisions right now in my life that are going to shorten my life, almost certainly, and are going to have a lasting effect on my wife and children. And I'm doing that because this is what I love to do, and honestly because I'm miserable when I don't. But, you know, who's to say that if I had never gone down the street drug pathway to begin with, I would have had a better time finding real lasting happiness on this planet than where I ended up in life because of all the things that I've abused. So anyway, I'm not trying to be your fucking daddy. I'm certainly not your coach, your lawyer, your doctor. This is not medical advice. It's not legal advice. Don't do any of the things that I'm saying here because you don't want to fucking try to find a way to support a 15 drug habit, which is what you will probably end up with if you go down this pathway. So please, whatever you do, make conscientious decisions for yourself. Obviously, I would never judge anyone for whatever they decide to do. It's not my fucking business. What you do with your body is your business and your business alone. So don't fucking blame anybody else. You know, ladies, oh, my coach fucked me up and now I have a dick. Bullshit. You fucked you up. You decided to listen to someone. You didn't do your fucking research, and now you're fucked up and you want to point the finger. Same thing for guys. It pisses me off when I hear these people just pointing the fucking finger at a coach or a trainer or their friend and saying, well, this person fucked me up. You fucked you up because you didn't fucking educate yourself on what you were putting in your body. And that's what happened. Take responsibility for the shit you do, and your entire life will be better for it. So there you have it, rant over. Hopefully this shit's been informative and entertaining, and we'll see you on the next one.